Hello everybody and welcome to another Beyond All Reason video. Today we have two contestants, one that we've not seen before on the channel, Kitty Danger in blue here, managed to absolutely destroy Randy, last time on the channel. So let's see if this rising star will be able to beat their opponent, Solvo. Solvo, the underranked person in this match, currently playing as red and is also Cortex. So we have a Cortex v Cortex matchup here today. Solvo going for a bot lab in the early stage, and so is Kitty. Now this is before any Season 2 changes. Season 2 isn't technically out yet until I think it was like 20 something of 20 something, like 28th I think it was, of March. So just bear that in mind. All of the grunt changes and such are all not in place at time of recording. Now the map, Onyx Cauldron, a very nice map for casting, at least. It's made some very long 1v1s, and probably one of the reasons for that is due to just how much metal is available and how much area there is to contest. The Cauldron, as we see here, if you haven't seen a map before, is very easy to defend if you can get in there. If Solvo, for example, manages to get in here and then defend this section here, it's going to be extremely difficult for Kitty to be able to push in to that location. Whereas everywhere else, obviously, you have the other paths, which is through the water track along the top and across this section here, and then obviously down, right down the middle. Now, both players going bots does mean they're going to be able to path over these hills along the north without too much problem, but probably the reason both players here are going bots is for res bots. There is a large quantity of metal to be had on this map and energy just from all these crystals, and it's not something to sniff at. I say a lot. I mean, there's 80 there, 45 there, 35 there, 10 there. There's more here. Like, there's lots of clumps of it, and just due to the energy availability from the crystals, it kind of makes sense to start bots. You can always transition to something else afterwards. Now Solvo did do a very nice 1v2 to some grunts a minute ago, managing to get the flanking damage whilst Kitty wasn't paying attention. Solvo losing that grunt there though, so a 1-to-1 grunt damage ratio at the moment. However, Kitty has managed to sneak a grunt around, and with Solvo extremely struggling with energy production right now, that is going to hurt, because he's about to also lose the construction vehicle. Now, there is a resbot moving past, which will be there to be able to resurrect the construction bot, but still, that's wasted time that he did not need, Solvo. And some good damage early on though, applying a lot of pressure, Solvo, and we may be able to see another construction vehicle killed here, but that will cost probably most of those grunts. Unless he retreats straight away afterwards, which it doesn't look like he's going to. So Solvo will get the metal extractor, but for what cost, really? I mean, he lost all of his grunts. He killed one metal extractor and a construction vehicle and a radar. Not really worth it, because now you've also just left all the reclaim in your opponent's base. That's like for the same thing over here almost. Kitty did it with a single construction vehicle. So it's like, Well, we'll see. I'm not writing Solvo off just yet, but look at these guys, all just up here. Does Solvo not have a radar? Oh, he does have a radar in the middle. Okay. Well, this is a bit dangerous, this force being left here, which is why these 6 grunts have been left to defend the base, but they'll spread thin a bit now due to using so many grunts to that attack earlier on, and you can see just all the locations that Kitty's just stationing some forces just to provide some viewing of what's going on. And that force did manage to get mopped up without achieving anything, so that's good for Solvo. Meanwhile, when we select Kitty here, you can see the radar coverage is limited. You know, you've only got this here. You've got the construction bot and the comm just slowly pushing out, building radars as they go. But because it's such a large map, it is quite difficult. Realistically, the commanders need to get like close to this cliffside here and maybe build a radar up there. It will provide excellent vision over such a extended period. Extended distance then. Plenty of line of sight to be had. Now Solvo is doing a good job here attempting to control this cauldron, so to speak. They are about to lose it though, but Solvo is trying to apply pressure on different locations to force Kitty to move their units elsewhere. As we can see, 2 little fights going on here. And with 5v4 grunts now, Kitty actually backing off. And Solvo should be able to get another construction vehicle, which is quite an expensive construction vehicle here, because this is the the one that was expanding. And now all of Kitty's expansion is gone, but Kitty does manage to make it into the cauldron. Solvo did not prioritize blocking it off from Kitty, and instead try to prioritize taking a large quantity of space. Plenty of defenses up there. No armored metal extractors from either player as of yet. Also, no transition away from grunts. Oh. I was about to say Kitty's comm was in danger there, but no. There are nowhere near enough grunts to really pose much of a threat. And you can see Solvo is definitely microing other things here, as the grunts along the were in this location managed to get taken out very effectively. But as we look around, we can see there's quite a few grunts over here ready to go. There is a resbot actually also doing nothing, but it is leaving a lot of reclaim for Kitty that Kitty has already managed to get. And with a construction vehicle making its way in, we're going to see some more units or more defenses being built. Kitty's still pumping out just grunts. And we actually see, though, a transition over to vehicles with incisors for Solvo. They have a decent chunk of metal here, and they may be just looking to double produce rather than double down. Now, army value is looking favorable to Solvo at the moment. But that is due to, we've actually just seen, there you go, a switch over to thugs from Kitty. Now, when it comes to the cauldron, Kitty is pretty contained here. Doesn't have the forces available to really spread out right now. As we scroll over the map here, we can see that there is a big chunk of units on the north side, which are about to... Well, I was about to say about to go in, but it looks like they've changed their mind. And this exposed construction vehicle on the north may get killed here by these 3 grunts that are making their way around. Solvo can't really afford to take too many grunts away. Oh, Solvo looks like he's actually trying to pincer these grunts here. And also we just heard there in the distance. Oh, Solvo making a big mistake here. Huge line of grunts just walked into a line of LLTs. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them dead just for nothing. Bombers have been built as well. The construction bot at the top did get taken out. And Solvo getting pressured on multiple locations. So just not enough microing going on. Solvo losing out most locations here. This force is just getting hit by these thugs out of their range. Where is the micro going, I wonder? The micro is going on trying to kill these this construction bot. But in the meantime, all of the forces in the middle here have been taken out. Whether one construction vehicle, bot rather, was worth losing like a huge chunk of units. And then also losing this here, losing these 5 here. Like, that's a lot of losses to kill a single construction vehicle. And now we see bombers coming in. No scouts for them though. They have no idea what they're going to hit. And enemy air spotted notification will have just gone out, and you can see him desperately trying to pump out anti-air from the factory. But a lot of that bombing run doesn't land anywhere. Now being vision provided by the bombers as they fly over, we'll get some decent hits. All of the free metal extractors though did get taken out, and the energy converters as well. Huge amounts of damage being dealt actually by these bombers. If they get retargeted quickly enough here, they may be able to get another set of windmills, but they are not being retargeted. But that is a huge amount of damage being dealt to Kitty, and you can just see the impact by the difference in numbers as everything is humongously red at the moment. As the incisors desperately try and run away from the thugs, they then stop to get hit by them for free. It's almost like Solvo's listening to what I say, and it's just like, as soon as you say something, I'm going to do something different. And the incisors getting surrounded, which is going to kill them pretty easily, but this is more of an important push as it's making some headway here. Not only that, but the commander is obviously in the cauldron at the moment with not really any way of getting out if this section gets completely destroyed. Kitty's comm will be in danger. And it's looking good for Solvo at the moment. Most of the map control completely in their hands. Air factory has been basically abandoned at this point, which is good. Your opponent is investing a lot into anti-air, so now's the time. But the problem being is that Solvo's just streaming unit after unit in and not building a concise enough force. Also, Solvo right now, as we've got Solvo selected, does not have anywhere near enough build power. Look how much metal they've got just sat there. They're not really using all their build power. They've got idle construction bots. They still haven't capped that metal point in the corner. Now, if Kitty is left alone, there is a lot of metal to be had here. Bear in mind, pretty much all the damage was energy production, which is windmills, which will take a little while to rebuild, but not too long. And if there is still trees around, which as you can see there are, there is something to get back from that. You can just reclaim all the trees while you're rebuilding your windmills. But a lot of micromanagement of units here by Solvo. You can see these incisors literally just sitting there, taking damage. Probably because he's microing in a pounder over there. And then a bunch of scouts set to land. Oh dear. Lots and lots of mistakes from Solvo. But will they still be able to win out in the end? Kitty's comm coming in here. Gets nice D-guns off. Most of the stuff actually gets destroyed. And because Solvo has been... Oh, Solvo actually transitioned to Tech 2. Right. There's one pounder up here just like holding on for dear life, but not long enough. The problem for Solvo now is look how much metal there is. And not only that, but his opponent has more army value. And it's going to be getting more and more as all of this stuff is getting resurrected. And it's all well and good having Tech 2, but if you don't have enough of your Tech 2 units to make a dent, then it isn't really going to make much of a difference. You can see one construction bot here that's Tech 2 going around, going to start doing the metal extractors. Now, we do see Kitty, though, having to go air to build fighters. That does mean, though, that Kitty has the ability to go shurikens. And it's only a matter of time, because now Kitty will have got the notification that Tech 2 units have been spotted. And Kitty now basically needs to make a decision of doubling down on Tech 1 or pushing Tech 2. The cauldron is being annihilated by Kitty. All of the metal extractors that Solvo had in there has not been contested in a long time, and no forces have been there to help defend it either. The Resbots do get taken out, but this clumping up of the Tech 2 units here, the Fiends, just needed to be spread out a bit. And here come the shurikens as well, and those Fiends are now completely gone with no impact whatsoever. Problem is, with the shurikens coming in, it's going to be pretty impossible for Solvo without some form of fighter coverage. And you can just see, like, these 3 shurikens are just instantly EMP the Fiends. Well, one Thug would just be able to, over time, eventually clear it all. Wow, Kitty's comm being super dangerous here. Has walked really far forward. What's Kitty's plan? I think Kitty might be going in for one, like, big push. Shurikens, more thugs coming out. He's coming in an extremely tenuous position. Still nothing really to deal with the shurikens. And they are definitely turning the tide for Kitty here, otherwise Kitty would be in big trouble. It is starting to get a bit of a critical mass though for Solvo, as Solvo is definitely able to get a big chunk of Fiends here. And this is important as well. Solvo finally making use of Resbots to reclaim everything that was behind him, trying to not leave any reclaim for Kitty. That has been what's kept Kitty in the game the entire time. Will the underdog be victorious? Kitty versus Andy, Randy left a tremendous amount of pressure on Randy at the beginning of the game. Made that Randy was pretty much unable to do anything. And now we have basically the exact same, but inversed here. As Solvo just continuously applying pressure to Kitty. Kitty not really able to get out of the start position. But the occasional drop in unit production here by Solvo is constantly just giving breathing room to Kitty. And Kitty now transition into Tech 2 themselves. And the advantage that Solvo had is going to be gone. When we look at metal produced wise, Solvo still has a huge advantage. All the numbers here are in the red, as you can see. But maybe what Solvo should be doing here is he's got a lot of Tech 2 metal production. He's even got a fusion. Transition over to Sheldon's. Like, you're against thugs. Like, just outrange the thugs and slowly push in. Rather than the continuous fiends that just get killed. Meanwhile, when we select Solvo, actually, Solvo knows Kitty's comm is in the water here. Sheldon's would be able to deal with that. You can just see how much fiends get damaged. There's one was already killed before it even managed to close range. And it's just not being quite as effective as Solvo had hoped. Does manage to break through. But with Kitty now having their own fiends. And pressure not being applied on the outside of the map either. Like, this section here was completely destroyed by Solvo. And yet, Kitty has managed to build all the way up to here. So, Solvo needs to apply more pressure. Otherwise, they're going to lose. And Kitty needs more build power because Kitty has a lot of metal stored right now. And as we quickly check the stats here, when we look at metal excess, Solvo is actually more metal excess. Both players very, very close. Energy excess wise, both players also very close to energy excess. More on the Solvo front, which means that they could build more energy converters. And finally, we see a transition over to Sheldon's from Solvo. This will hopefully be the beginning of the end for Kitty. Now, does Solvo doesn't have any radar bots with them? They are further back. And we just see the Sheldons here just forcing Kitty further and further back. No air defense with this force though anymore, which means if there are still shurikens left, which there are. Oh, there they are. Sorry, there was air defense left further back. But the problem is now the Sheldons don't really have any vision. Trying to use the fiends to provide vision, but we select the attack move here. Look, it could easily be killing this thug. And now more Sheldons coming out from Kitty here. This is just a slight mismanagement of units. And all of the fiends get completely destroyed. And so much more damage could have been inflicted there if Solvo had just had the radar with the Sheldons to begin with before moving out. Now the question is Solvo able to build up a critical enough mass of Sheldons to make an impact here? This one fiend moving around at the top is, if left uncontested, would be able to do a substantial amount of damage, but he's been left to do nothing and now will be shurikened. If this was pathed correctly, that could have moved around here and got a huge bunch of energy, but yet again, unfortunately, Solvo does not seem to have quite the same APM as Kitty here. Or at least using APM on different things instead. And right now, this is by far a more significant force of Sheldons. Like, literally double the amount of Sheldons as his opponent. But not making a push. Also with radar jammers there, which means that Kitty is going to require vision in order to do anything. Some units are outside of the jammer's range, and now Solvo has to deal with Kitty's radar jammer as well. And now we will probably see a scout spam from the air lab, maybe from Kitty, and I would expect to see some form of ground scout spam from Solvo here. As of yet, though, nothing. And Solvo with some miss micro there, leaving some Sheldons to just get killed. Does manage to take out a Sheldon of his own, though. And actually coming out with spy bots here from Kitty. This could be the thing to turn the tide. Not only that, but look at this force of raiding units at the top. This is going to be a lot of build power to lose by Solvo. And also choosing not to build a armed metal extractor, which could have done a huge amount of work about these guys here. And that is 2 advanced construction bots and at least a bunch of twitchers as well. That is a lot of build power to lose. Solvo just seems to be struggling here. Can't really get the killing move. Getting pressured in multiple locations, but now Solvo's army is actually in the cauldron, leaving the base pretty much entirely undefended from this push. Also, Solvo's commander has been inexplicably walked into the cauldron here by assisting that advanced constructor, and with barely any units to defend it, this is a supreme risk on their part. And the Spybot EMP goes off, stunning well over half of Solvo's Sheldons along this bottom side. Not enough to make an impact, but Solvo's commander now in extreme danger as this force makes its way towards the base of Solvo. Counter spy bots are going up. Become a bit of a classic base race here. No anti-air with this force that's pushing to Kitty's base, but this Sheldon bull I think is pretty much going to get killed. It's way too close range, and as that force gets annihilated, it's going to take a little while to get close enough, but that sumo is going to do a huge amount of damage. Not focusing on any of the build power or energy converters or anything with this force, but look at the stream of additional Sheldons coming out as Solvo was able to defend the base. But again, we see Solvo just throwing away forces here as they just march down the middle with no defense whatsoever. A huge mistake. Also, Solvo's commander is still in the pocket here. No forces able to really defend. And we do see a transition over to mammoths now from Solvo. Slightly new model on the Mammoth. Don't know if you've recognized it before, but it is quite cool. And we'll see how the Mammoth is going to impact the game now, though. A little bit of build power killed by Solvo on this north side, as well as some Fiends trying to make a bit of a dent. Sheldons need radar, though, in order to make any form of impact. They have very, very small sight range. And Solvo losing an additional 2 Twitchers there. A lot of stuff to be losing for no reason, really. And at least some metal extractors being killed, though, by Solvo along the edge of the map. We'll see how the Mammoths do. The Mammoths' jobs is literally just to field for the Sheldons. And you can see here why Solvo keeps losing units. Look at the path it's been set. It's like, go over here. So he's not grouping up his units. He should be grouping the Sheldons up behind the Mammoths and have the Mammoths tank the damage. But instead, just kind of like sending them all in at one go. And you can see the difference in bases here. Look at the economy difference. Energy produced, fusions, so much wind everywhere. Whereas over here, still 2 fusions, starting to build some advanced energy converters, but building advanced energy converters when you don't actually have the power to power them, as you can see they keep turning off, is a bit of a waste. Now here comes the danger part. Solvo's commander in the pocket over here, and there is a decent force of units making their way round. And this could be the end for Solvo here, as these 3 Fiends make their way towards the commander. The D-gun manages to kill them, but now Kitty is aware of where the commander is. Surprisingly not turning around the force that's in the cauldron. The Mammoths slowly march towards Kitty's base. And the first Mammoth gets destroyed, leaving 1,300 metals worth of wreckage. Needs more than a single Mammoth in the line in order to really tank the damage. There are a few EMPs here, using the Tech 1 fighters pretty much more to screen for the shurikens. And the last Mammoth that's on this front line gets destroyed, leaving just the Sheldons. More Mammoths coming in, but they are so slow. Now the danger bit here is these Sheldons are going to just slowly plink away at the commander. MP manages to stop one of the Mammoths. But the Mammoth doing a good job, just slowly creeping up. MP bot manages to get destroyed. Accidental Tech 2 constructor from Kitty. And I think this is the end for Kitty here, unless he can get Solvo's commander. Solvo's commander is still in a dangerous position here. 80% health. Really the only way that Kitty's going to win now is by if they can kill the commander. And there are enough bombers to do it. Kitty making a bit of a play there, maybe to try and push forward with the commander. All the bombers, though, do get taken out. That would have been perfect. Solvo's commander, though, manages to secure the pocket. And with that, Kitty's base will be annihilated. Kitty losing to the underdog then. As the commander goes boom. Solvo wins the match. Very surprising there. Solvo had a lot of times where the micro was just not there. But Kitty just was getting pushed too much and couldn't keep up, even with their superior micro skills. Well played, both players. Good to see some different names on the channel for a change. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.